All right, that worked flawless once again. Then here we are, Saturday afternoon. I know normally we're Saturday night, but today we have a killer four band special all day. And today, our first guest, James. Please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about the band you're in, buddy.
All right, so I'm my name is James Delbridge, and I'm the lead singer and guitar player for the Ottawa power metal band Lycanthro.
Yeah.
Yay! I'm so happy you're here. You guys are one of my favorite local bands.
Oh, really? Thank you.
Yeah. So this is awesome. It's my turn to fangirl today, TJ.
That's all good. It's all good.
So I want to know about your track by track series before we even start shooting the shit and see what's going on and stuff, because you just mentioned to me that nobody's asked you about it yet.
Well, it's because we only just started posting them. That series was I saw like one thing I was trying to do was I was trying to figure out different kinds of content to promote our new album. And one of my favorite things to watch personally is I love when bands do these track by tracks when they explain each song on the album and any stories or from either what the song's about or the production or anything. And that's just the kind of stuff I like to watch. So I kind of figured why not do that, but with us. And when we were filming it, it was just here in my room. Like a few of my friends are aspiring filmmakers, and they have this fancy filming equipment. So usually I'm their guinea pig with stuff like that. So I said, hey, I want to film this thing. You want to come over and we shoot it? And since they're my friends, there's always like a little bit of comedy in some of them, just because we're kind of fooling around during a lot of them. Like there are even some parts in the videos that haven't been uploaded yet, where I'll take like something that the guy said off camera and throw it into the video just because it's funny, and it's in context. Like we haven't posted yet, but we did one for our song Into Oblivion, and that song, what it's about the you guys ever heard of, I forgot what the name is, but the zombie fungus that like kind of affects like an ants, like that can like control like bugs and stuff.
Yeah, so they do it to ants, mainly ants, I guess it is.
Ants,
wasps as well, right?
Yeah, well, that's what the song was based on originally, because the song is about like zombies and classic zombie stuff, like Day of the Dead and stuff like that. But a lot of the lyrics is based off that, and there's one bit in the video where I made an error and I said an ant's brain, and then I put a record scratch in my friend off camera. And this wasn't like part of the take, but I put it in. He goes, James, make sure you don't say ants' brains. Ants don't have brains. And then I really sarcastically go, oh, thank you, Duncan. Just stuff like that, So it's just like I wanted to like. I love like making and like watching those kinds of videos, but at the same time, I want the personality of the band to come through too. Is that like most people will know that even though power metal is all about dragons and swords and blah 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 blah, it's a lot of power metal bands are also just really fun-loving guys. So like if you've ever listened to Ed Guy, half their songs are like just stupid. Like, in the best possible way, like freaking Laboratory Love Machine and shit like that.
No, it's true though. It's so fun. Like that music in general, like the drift off into that world, while you're listening to it. It's just phenomenal. Love it. So we were talking a little bit. You just finished doing a bunch of like a radio thing, did you not? Right before you come on here?
Well, I have like 2 interviews in a row today. Like I have this one and I have another one right after. But when I got up, my friend Corey Westbrook, she writes for Metal Injection actually. She was doing a radio show on Give Me Metal, the radio app, Metal, and she was playing like pretty much just a bunch of bands that like she's friends with and everybody, and I kind of figured, well, she's playing us, I might as well make an appearance in the comments, and she was playing like us, and I just cut out again. Oh, there we go.
Stuff happens. Don't even worry about that.
All right. Anyways, yeah, she was like playing like a bunch of the bands that like she's friends with and she works with and all that. So she's a good friend of ours, so she played us, and she plays like some of the other bands that she was playing on there was like if you're from Toronto, I'm sure you know Lindsay Schoolcraft.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like her, like us, Lindsay, a few others, and I figured, I'm like, okay, well, everybody who's getting played is like making appearances in the chat, so I might as well. And it was a good show, and it was really cool to hear everyone's thoughts and all that. It's a really cool thing to see, like, as the song's playing, you can make a comment. It's like, oh, tell me your thoughts on the song, guys, and everybody just starts,
Oh, wow.
Like, it's really cool and really interactive, and yeah, I think that it was my first time using that app, so I thought it was kind of cool for that. So yeah,
no, that's something I should definitely question you a little bit another day about that, like how that went down and how that worked, because that could be something we could do over here. Being able to, you're an independent artist now, are you not?
Kind of. Yeah. Because like the thing is that we're on a label, but they're not a big label. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like we're not technically an independent art. We kind of are and we kind of aren't. We're in that really weird middle ground because as I said, we're on a label, but the label isn't big, and I don't mean big as in like Nuclear Blast or whatever. I mean in terms of the fact that our label deal doesn't really have any money involved in it.
Mm-hmm.
So
no, I understand that. We have quite a few bands that we work with are like either they're right on that verge of independent, but they're on a label, but yet, it's not like a fucking MGM or anything. I don't even know if they do music, but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, I think they used to.
They might have. That's true.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Amanda. I know you have a few questions.
I do. My sound kind of went for a second. Oh, I'm echoing again. Damn it. Hang on.
All right. Well, she's figuring that out. You mentioned earlier you just did one of your last tours there with Ammo. You did like Toronto, you played Ottawa, and you played Newfoundland. Is that correct?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that, man? That must have been all right.
Oh man. So the show that we played a festival in Newfoundland in St. John's, and it was called November Mayhem Fest because it took place in November 2019. And it's just this like kind of there's a promoter over in Newfoundland who he has tried to start up because there's a little bit of a metal scene there. Like there's some surprisingly really good bands from St. John's, and there's some bands that like a lot of people don't hear about because St. John's is so closed off from the rest of the area. Like we have a good friends band there called Emblem. Emblem's awesome. They're friends of ours, and Allagash and Category 6. There's some great bands there. And when we got asked to be on the festival, it was cool. We felt kind of like rock stars because they didn't pay us, but they paid for flights. So kind of instead of paying us for playing, they said, oh, we're gonna pay for your flights from Ottawa, and we're like, oh, and we also had like free places to stay, free food for the most part. So it was kind of like equivalent exchange,
Yeah, no, that's excellent.
Yeah, and I will say that was probably one of the rowdiest shows I've ever played because because Newfoundlanders, I find when something happens there, they go hard.
Oh,
like there's so like.
Oh, you broke up a bit there, Amanda.
Yeah.
Okay.
Someone said being spoiled is a good trade-off. Yeah, it is.
Oh, here we go. That's right here.
Well, one thing what I will say about that show too is that like in Newfoundland, again, since they don't get that kind of stuff there very much, they're so like when I went there, I found, and not to say this, but like the scenes like here in Toronto. They're very like loose. They're not uptight at all. Like there was one point in the show where so the stage was here, and right next to the stage was a bar because this venue was big enough. It had 3 bars. It was nuts.
Holy.
Yeah, it was, and And before the show, I go up to the bartender. I said, "Hey, man, I see that this bar's right next to the stage. Can I play my guitar solo on top of the bar during the show?" And he goes, "Oh, yeah, for sure, man. Just walk across the outer side of the bar instead of the inner because it's more stable." I literally said to him, "Thanks, man. If I tried doing that at a show here, I'd probably get banned."
Oh yeah.
So yeah, no, it was a great time, and as I said, Newfoundlanders, they party very, very hard.
Yes.
Like I remember, like the show was nuts. Like we were second on out of 5, and we played at 11 p.m. So the show didn't end till like 2 a.m. And then afterwards, there was like an after party at the promoter's house, and I vividly remember going outside, and we're all like drinking and going outside and seeing the sun was coming up. I was like, oh my God.
Was it Justin, the promoter?
Yeah, it was Justin.
So Justin also brought Johnny No Cash out from Toronto to Newfoundland a couple years ago. And he said the same thing. He said this guy's an absolute blast of a promoter. TJ, he's somebody that we should definitely talk to.
Justin's awesome. Yeah.
Fantastic. That's awesome. I'm so glad that you guys went out there. My second question to that, I have other questions before I started echoing and having technical issues. But my second question to that is, did you guys get screeched in?
No, we didn't actually. I kind of regret it, but we didn't have time. We were only there 3 days, I think.
And that would have been fantastic.
We didn't get screeched in. I kind of wish we did, but next time, like once the pandemic is over, that's one of the places that we're for sure gonna look into playing again is Newfoundland, because as I said earlier, we have a few good friends bands there. Like as I said, Emblem is fantastic, and yeah.
See,
awesome.
I hear Newfoundland. It's nice to actually hear you say there's a bit of a metal scene out there, because I think like she shanty tunes,
I mean, those are cool too. I mean, those are cool.
No, absolutely.
I love Great Big Sea personally.
Me too.
Oh, amazing band they are. Those guys are fantastic live too. When they were one of the ones that kind of blew my brain when I seen them. I was like, we're going to a Great Big Sea, whatever. And we got there, the show was rocking, dude. Everybody was right into it. It was a great vibe.
They're all fantastic singers.
Yeah.
Like it takes one thing I've found because one thing I've been doing a lot during the pandemic is trying to improve my singing style and my singing technique, and it's made me grow an appreciation for singers from like other genres other than metal. And Great Big Sea is definitely one of them, because it takes a lot of effort to be able to harmonize that perfectly between like 5 people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of like what the Eagles used to do. That is hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Not easy.
As far as Great Big Sea goes, they've been around since their first single was a song called Mary Mac, and it was in 1996, maybe. 94? I want to say it was 96.
I'm sure Brennan's fact checking that right now.
Probably. And they were absolutely, like, they were all over Much Music. And then the first time I had seen them was actually down right in front of Niagara Falls with Blue Rodeo at New Year's. 10 years to the day, I got to see them with Spirit of the West. And yeah, Newfoundland bands are absolutely fantastic. They're such a fucking party band.
Wait, Great Big Sea and Spirit of the West aren't the same band?
No, believe it or not, they're from different coasts.
I know, it's just, it's the joke, everybody thinks that they're the same band.
I know. So, no, my question before we started getting all screwed up with my tech was, I was curious to know about you guys having the choir on Fallen Angel's Prayer. Ooh. How did that come to be? Because I listened to that, and that was a lot of fun.
Oh, sweet. Glad you enjoyed that one. Yeah, Fallen Angel's Prayer was definitely a bit of a risky song for the album, because it's so different than everything else, because even with people who have talked to or have read, we've gotten a couple of reviews so far, and people have been telling me that's like it's funny, for a while that was my favorite song on the album, but then a lot of the reviews keep saying it's their least favorite just because of how different it is from the rest of the album. And
Really?
but yeah, no, yeah, but the choir, that came about because I was so the song itself is based off Hunchback of Notre Dame, right?
Right.
And I'm a big fan of the Disney movie. Like, I'm not usually a Disney fan in general, but that's my favorite Disney movie. And my favorite part of that film is the score. The choir, like, you have like all this, like, it has probably some of people always like to joke like, oh, Disney songs are so cheesy. I'm like, the songs in Hunchback are phenomenal. They're like so masterfully written, and my favorite part of that is the big haunting choir in it. Right. And I thought, you know what, I need to do something like that in one of our tracks. And so I have a friend here in Ottawa who she comes to all the metal shows, and she's like a metalhead, but her other thing that she's into is she's the leader of the Ottawa Capital Chamber Choir. And I remember asking her, said, hey, we want to have a choir on one of the tracks. Would your choir be able to come into the studio and do it? And she said, probably not the whole choir, because I think there's like 50 of them in it. But she's like, I'll message everybody, and whoever wants to come can come. You know what I mean? Like, it's just basically, it was pretty much like whoever's going to show up. And I think in the end, like 15 or 20 showed up.
Oh, wow.
And, but that was all we needed, you know, and they were all very ecstatic about it. Like, literally after she said that, she messaged me 2 minutes later, be like, "Yep, we already have like 20 people who's down." I'm like, "Okay, sweet, that's all we need." And we went into the studio, and it was pretty funny because it was like no rehearsal, nothing. It was just I gave them one line because all they say is, you know, "Sanctuary" over and over, and yeah, and it went pretty smoothly actually, and yeah, I'm really glad how it turned out for sure.
That's awesome.
No, phenomenal. That's got to be quite the experience, though, to play with a choir like that. Like,
yeah,
how did you guys even arrange that then? Like, did you give them the song, like the final product, and they scored over top of you, or was it vice versa?
I kind of the way when I look back on it, I kind of realized there were easier ways we could have done it because normally, I didn't know this, but normally when you record a choir professionally, you record each section. So you record all of the baritones, all the tenors, all the sopranos, all separately. You don't record the whole thing at once. I didn't know that before, but so for this one, we recorded all of them. Oh. And pretty much what happened was they didn't actually hear the song. I just gave them the melody and the line, and that's pretty much it. Like, we had a friend of ours on the piano in the studio just to give them, okay, this is the melody, do 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 do, and they kind of, and I said, okay, the words "Sanctuary," then they play it, and then they had it, and then they kind of sang it. Well, we all had headphones, so they didn't hear the whole song; they heard just the section. And yeah, and that's pretty much how it went. And the thing I found hilarious about that session was we had one of the people who volunteered to come and do this recording was actually the choir's lead soprano, which I was like, whoa, that's pretty cool. You know, that's a bit of an honor, you know.
Yeah.
And after we recorded, I'd heard her with her, like, you know, freaking high dog whistle notes and stuff like that. And I remember going up to her and saying, hey, break this glass right now. Come on. Yeah.
I was going to ask, that was kind of a stupid question I had afterwards, was like, did anybody do the singing and broke the glass or what?
Well, she probably could have, because she, like, that's one thing I find pretty funny is that as a metal singer and as like the style of vocals that I do, which is like, you know, the old school like Rob Halford, Bruce Dickinson, Michael Kiske kind of vocals, I'm always jealous of a lot of women singers because I'm like, because since naturally women can sing higher than men, they can go so high, and I'm like, oh, I wish I could sing that high.
That's awesome. Oh, my screen got big. Oh, there you are. I can see you again. So you had mentioned that you had a friend of yours come in on the piano. Is that James that you were talking about?
No. James was later that same day. We had a friend of ours who her name was Holly, and she was she's the one who played the flute on the track. And because we did the recording of the choir first in the morning, or in the early afternoon, I guess. And she came in and she was the one who was like, she's like, oh, okay, I know. Like, she's like, I studied music, so I can play the melody on the piano, no problem, and they can kind of copy it or whatever. No, James, or we always call him Jamal because of two James's. So, but yeah, no, but he came in and he's a fantastic player. He's from a local band here called The Aphelion, which they're kind of like, imagine Ottawa Opeth. That's what they sound like.
No way.
Oh, yeah, okay.
They're one of my favorite all-time bands. Like, as far as
they're probably the only band from Ottawa who plays like progressive metal, like in the traditional sense. Like, very
I'm
much
so glad
like,
I asked about him.
Yeah, they're very much like Dream Theater, Opeth, stuff like that. And and he's a fantastic player. In that band he plays rhythm guitar and keyboard at the same time. So usually whenever I want like a piano part in a song, I'll always send him. I'll be like, "Hey, dude, here's the melody." I always tell him, because I'm like, "Here's the melody of the part that I want," because I don't play piano, so it's just so I'll pretty much send him the melody on like guitar. Probably I'll be like, "Okay, here's the melody for the part. Play it, but add your own kind of flair to it." So if the melody is like in Fallen Angel's Prayer, I just gave him do 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 do, and then I said, okay, here's the melody, do what you want with it. And then he kind of added all these little he added like kind of the root chord, and he added like some little embellishes here and there, and I'm like, this is why I ask you to do this stuff.
Right on. Awesome. Yeah, because I had heard you mention it in the track by track series. That's why I asked about it. I wanted to get a little bit more information. Like I went sniffing around this morning because, like I said, you guys are. I did.
You definitely did your due diligence today as far as getting all the information for the bands and stuff, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, like I said, man, when you told me they were on, like, they're one of my favorite bands as far as local bands go. They're top on the list. Yeah. So, you know, like, I mean,
oh, sorry. She never knows who I'm booking, right? I just tell her 10 minutes before the show. This is who's on.
Sometimes. Yeah, sometimes. It's if I don't get the opportunity to jump into the schedule and check it, which I have been on top of lately. So when I had seen that you guys were on the schedule, I was excited. So yeah, I definitely went digging around and looking for stuff. So on top of Camelot being one of your bigger influences, where else do you guys draw your influence from?
Well, Camelot was mainly an influence for that song.
Right.
Because Camelot isn't... I love Camelot personally, but they're, like, not really a band that we kind of... Overall, we kind of draw from.
Right.
That's, no, but I love Camelot, though, don't get me wrong. But our stuff is more kind of, inspired by, like, the old school power metal bands. Like, the main bands that we draw influence from are, like, Manowar, Halloween, Blind Guardian, Judas Priest, Saxon, stuff like that. Persuader, if you know who that is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. We both do, actually.
Yeah.
I've just been told we sound like them. So it's
like, no, they're good. They're good. So that's a compliment.
That's like really heavy, thrashy power metal. You know, like that's what I like. Is that like I love like the bands who are really like I said, like Camelot or like Twilight Force, which they're very like, you know, clean and pristine and all that. And I love that stuff. And I want to have a few tracks like that for us. But at the moment, our kind of sound is still like, and I found this is what kind of resonates with a wider audience, especially in North America. Is because one thing I find metal fans are like here, which they're not like in Europe, is here everything has to be heavy in some areas. Like, that's why death metal and core is so popular here. Because like, everything has to be heavy. And to me, I'm not really into that. Like, I'm not really like into the whole like heavy for the sake of being heavy sort of thing. Like, to me, it has to have meaning, has to have some substance. So I kind of found that I'm like, okay, if I combine like the European bands I like and still make it a little bit heavy, then I think both worlds will like it. And it so far it has. Like people who like power metal like it, people who like pure power metal like it, and people who like heavier shit like it too. So I always try and write our songs to be like everybody can like it. You know, everybody can enjoy it in some way. That's kind of the goal I try and that's what I try and go for with our music, because metal music is something that, you know, a lot of people, especially like on the outside, are very like, you know, growling and blah 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 blah. And you know,
I've heard "Kill Your Mother" music. You worship
exactly.
Satan.
Or
you know,
my favorite is because people my age will sometimes say, "Oh, is that screamo music?" And I'm like, you don't even know what that even means, okay?
Yeah.
I'm like, we do not associate ourselves with those bands, all right?
Yeah.
We're not Escape the Fate or anything like that, all right?
Yeah, they're on the other side of the fence.
They're not even close to us musically, you know, like that kind of stuff.
As far as style goes, for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
It's just like, like no hate if you like that stuff, you know, but it's like that's not the same thing.
Right.
But
yeah, no, I can understand that absolutely.
yeah. But yeah, no, so that's what in terms of our influences, that's why I kind of find bands like Blind Guardian and Halloween, that's why I kind of draw from those bands a lot, because they're still power metal, but they're also have the heaviness element that people who might not like power metal on its own will also get something out of as well.
Yeah, no, you guys are doing well with balance, that's for sure. Definitely, because both, you know, like I've got a Slipknot kid and I've got an Iron Maiden kid, and I can play your music and both kids are happy.
Perfect.
So that's how we know you've got that.
yeah, right in the middle, right?
Perfect.
So, well, yeah, I mean, you were talking about trying to have that element of, you know, being able to reach everybody in the metal audience, because, you know, like you say, some people are just like, oh, well, you know, it's all about the screamo. Meanwhile, there's like 150 genres of metal music, right? Yeah. So you guys have seemed to have picked up on that balance of being able to satisfy a bunch of different genres.
Yeah, that's been the goal from day one, because one thing I always tell people is that my earliest musical influence, and I still argue that they're the greatest band of all time, is Queen. Oh. And Queen is and the thing with Queen is that, because they were the first band I ever got introduced to, I was like 5 or 6 years old, and they're kind of the band that made me want to be a musician. And the thing with Queen, and I still follow this rule whenever I write songs, is that if you remember, even though Queen isn't necessarily metal, if you remember that Queen, they never wrote the same song twice.
Freddie Mercury was pretty metal. I said Freddie Mercury was pretty metal. I mean, like, they're not, absolutely. But they are. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
Absolutely, but like, kind of what I draw from them is the fact that no two songs were alike, and that's what people really liked about them, is that even though you'll have a song that's rock, you'll have a song that's pop, you'll have a song that's like a power ballad, you know, it still sounded like Queen. And that's what I'm trying to do with Lycanthro, is that we'll have different songs from different subgenres, but they'll still be us. They'll still sound like us. Like hell, even on some of our new stuff that no one's heard yet, that we're just working on at the moment, that isn't on Mark of the Wolf. We have a new song that's like a full-on folk metal song.
No way.
Sort of like an Elevite kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to hear that.
Yeah, yeah. Or we have like a new song, which is also kind of like, it's like a mellow, deathy song, but with clean vocals. It's like Arch Enemy, but no growls. It's just like me with my regular singing voice. Oh, you know, wow. So it's like I try and like, that's what I mean. I try and like do the same thing that they did. Is that we'll have songs that take elements from different genres, even though we're still a power metal band and at our core. And we're still Lycanthro, you know. So
right.
No, that's excellent, man. That's phenomenal. So, since from Ottawa, I've got to say we've reached out. We're making roots in Australia. We're making roots in South Africa, Montreal, fucking Ontario. You're the first band other than one other one out of Ontario, or like out of Ottawa. Sorry. what are some of the local bands we should be watching in your direction?
Oh, from Ottawa?
Yeah, man. Who's all coming up?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, the Aphelion is fantastic. As I said, they're like Ottawa Opeth. The other ones that I like a lot personally are we have a great band here called Infrared. They're they're like an old school thrash band, and they're one of those bands that they're sort of like what we call they're like the local legends, because they're one of those bands that they were actually an Ottawa band in the 80s. And they actually got their old, and you can find this on YouTube, which whenever their singer Armin is a good friend of mine, and I always razz him about this because he hates this video. You can find their old video from when they first started out in 1988, and they got it on Much Music actually.
No way.
And it's still on YouTube. It's still on.
I am looking for this right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but while you're at it, listen to Infrared. Their new stuff too, because I'd actually argue their new stuff's better. Well, mainly probably just because production's a lot better nowadays. But music production's a lot better nowadays.
Right.
But yeah, Infrared, another really great one from here. Because the thing with Ottawa is that if it was up to me, I'd normally just be recommending a whole bunch of power metal and old school metal bands, because that's my favorite stuff. But here, our scene is weird because there isn't any of that. There's only two bands here in Ottawa that count as power metal. There's us, and then there's our friends band Scepter, who they're fantastic as well, but they don't really have anything to check out at the moment, I don't think. I think they still have a single on Bandcamp somewhere, but there's only two power metal bands in Ottawa, and even then we're both very different. We're more on the Halloween Blind Guardian side, they're more on the New Wobble, Killers era, Iron Maiden, Cloven Hoof, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So so Infrared, Scepter, the Aphelion. The other one that's really good that you should check out from Ottawa is called they're called Sinful Ways. That's one of my really good friends. Brad is the bassist and the singer, and they're very much they're like Trivium. They're very much like Trivium. Oh. They're that kind of style, the modern metal, sort of Trivium, Avenged Sevenfold-y kind of stuff. So if you're a fan of that, then they're fantastic as well. So I guess in closing, I'd say Infrared, Scepter, the Aphelion, Sinful Ways. If you're into death metal, A Scar for the Wicked is fantastic as well.
I love them so much. Yeah, I love them so much.
Yeah, Scar for the Wicked's fantastic as well if you're into death metal and stuff like that. So yeah, I guess that's who I'd say.
Yeah, right on. That's fantastic. I can't. I'm looking for this band now. I can't find them on YouTube. I'll get you to send me a link later. I'm really interested in checking them out.
Oh, Infrared? Yeah, all right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So right on. Well, is there anything else that we haven't covered that you want to talk about that we haven't asked you?
Well, our new album, Mark of the Wolf, coming out June 4th.
June 4th. That's soon, man. That's real quick. Couple weeks.
Yeah.
So this is a full-length album, or?
Yeah, it's our very first full length.
Nice.
Okay. Sweet. Right
so
on.
Obviously you have some stuff on YouTube. Where all can we find you then? You guys are Instagram, all the shit, or what?
I mainly tell people to follow our Instagram because we're way more active on there. On Instagram, we obviously post our band stuff, but I'll always post other different forms of content just to get more people interested. For example, I'll try and sometimes I'll post these reels, and I try and be funny with them. It's weird. Our most successful stuff on social media, in general, wasn't even our music. Yeah, no, it was because a few weeks ago, actually not about a month or two ago, I posted this video on Instagram because I was trying to use their new kind of reels feature, just to see how that worked. And I thought it'd be funny to do at the time, because of the pandemic, I've been having to record a lot of vocals from home. And recording from home sucks. It really does. Yeah. At least for vocals. Guitars are easy as hell to record at home, but vocals suck because you need that other person there to tell you whether the take was good or not, right?
Yeah.
So I made a video on our Instagram, and it was called Singer Recording Struggles, where I did a kind of a short skit where I sing a line from "Through the Fire and Flames" by Dragon Force, and what I did was in the video I sang it, and then put then I say, "Oh, that was a great take. Let's listen back to it." And then I put my camera up to my my DAW, my recording software, and then I play the clip, and over top of it, I just go, "You suck, you suck, you suck, you suck, you suck." And then that video blew up. Like, I was not expecting that. Like, it has currently, I think, 100,000 views on Instagram.
Nice.
And like, wow. I think it has like 5,000 likes as well. To the point where, I kid you not, that like I woke up to this today and I was just like kind of fanboyed a bit, because literally I not woke up to this, but right before I came on here, I get a notification on Instagram because one of my favorite singers in general is her name is Sara Squadrani. She's Italian. She's from the Italian power metal symphonic metal band called Ancient Bards. And I'd been talking with her a bit on Instagram, and she parodied our video.
No way.
Yeah, no, like she used like my voice. She used like the audio and everything. And I'm just like, what the hell? One of my favorite singers is parodying our video.
That's an honor right
That's
there.
awesome.
Right?
Oh yeah, no, I was like, huh?
We have our second band backstage, and I know you were saying you kind of know these guys.
Well, I know one of them. I know Bobby, their guitar player, because as I said, we played with the other band. He's in Mocha Mocha. We've played with them a few times.
Okay. Well, we're going to drag them in right now, if you don't mind, and we'll overlap the interview, and you can hang around as long as you want, obviously, right? But
cool. Yeah, I have another.
They're backstage right now, so let's bring them on in. I'm going to slip out, take a quick pee, and then we'll you guys wrap everything up.
I have another interview at 3, but I'll chill for a bit until then.
Yeah,
so.
As long as you want, man. You're welcome as long as you want today, for sure, right?
Sweet, man.
Okay, well, TJ, before we pull them in live, why don't we head backstage for 5 minutes so we can all take a breather, and then we'll come back live in 5 minutes. Does that work for you? Yeah? No?
Works for me. All right.
Okay. Well, you said
we'll
you
keep
wanted
the stream
to run,
going.
so.
We'll leave up our picture of Jesus smoking a doob, and we'll jump backstage. And
I'm pretty sure he's back there, or he's already behind us. So
yeah,
all right,
he's
sweet,
perfect.
Awesome. All right, fantastic.
So we'll see everybody with everybody back again here in like 5 minutes.
Yeah. All right, I'll end the stream and we'll be back.
Perfect.
Awesome. It's not ending on my computer. I know, it never works the way I want it.